Breaking news, tragedy at a music festival in Houston. At least 8 people have died and many more injured after a crowd rushed toward the stage at the Astroworld Festival last night. Now, this video appears to show the moment rapper Travis Scott paused his set on stage as he saw an ambulance approaching. Houston's fire chief says the surge by festival goers sparked chaos in the crowd of 50,000 people and completely overwhelmed medical personnel. People in the crowd attempted CPR on the injured, according to the witnesses. And loved ones of those who are at the festival still may not have answers. This is Houston officials have set up a hotline to report missing people. CNN's Rosa Flores is in Houston. Rosa, what else have you been hearing from the witnesses?
You know, from the individuals that I've talked to, they describe the chaos. They describe how the people who were shorter in the crowd had more trouble breathing. The people that were taller in the crowd were able to gasp air. They describe it as a mob, and how for some of them, it was their survival instincts that kicked in, that they literally just wanted to get out of there. They wanted air and they wanted water. I talked to 2 individuals who actually say that during Travis Scott's performance, at multiple intervals, he stopped to say and point to areas of the crowd where people needed medical attention. And these individuals described that they themselves couldn't breathe. Take a listen.
It was going on for over 2 hours. I mean, it just got worse and worse. Everyone's like, you just can't breathe. You just feel like there's a weighted blanket on you.
It was so hard to move your arms, and it was so hard to breathe that I was pushing whoever in front of me just to get a breathe, just breathe.
Now, authorities say that about 9:15 was when that large group, that crowd started compressing towards the stage. By 9:38 p.m., the authorities say that this became a mass casualty event. One of the officers that was on scene described multiple people on the ground needing medical care. And of course, there were medics there. Police was there, but authorities say that both medics and the police, they were overwhelmed because of what was going on around them. By the end of the night, about 300 people were treated at a field hospital. 23 were transported to hospitals. Now we've learned from Texas Children's Hospital that includes more than 1 child. 8 individuals have died, according to authorities, but authorities warned that number could increase because there were multiple people who were transported to the hospital in serious condition. And so they're monitoring that, and we're expecting a press conference to start here at any moment, so we're hoping to get more details. But Ryan, all of this is still under investigation. Police today, we're told, were sifting through video, reviewing video, trying to find clues about exactly what happened here. Ryan?
Okay, Rosa Flores live in Houston. Rosa, thank you for that report. Let's talk more about this now. Joining us is Madeline Eskins. She is an ICU nurse who attended last night's concert. Madeline, you were in that crowd of about 50,000 people, and you even ended up passing out because people were pushing up against you so much that you couldn't breathe. First, just give us an idea of how you're feeling right now and describe that experience before you passed out.
I was very anxious. I could feel, myself losing the ability to breathe. It was really hard with the amount of people around me. I remember feeling, right before I passed out, I tried to turn my head to tell my boyfriend. I couldn't turn my head, but I tried to tell him I really was going to have him tell my son that I loved him, because I honestly did not think I was going to make it out of there. I'm not trying to be dramatic. I straight up thought I was going to die.
Well, I don't think that's being dramatic, because there were people that lost their life that night, as I'm sure you know. You are an ICU nurse. You deal with tragedy and probably emergency situations like this on a regular basis. When you regained consciousness, what did you do next, and what was happening around you?
I woke up, and I remember I woke up in an unfamiliar area. I think I was put in the VIP section behind general admission. I woke up with a water bottle in my lap, and I looked around and I watched. They were dropping people off, going back to get more people out of the crowd. I noticed one younger guy looked real bad. Eyes rolled back of his head, and I stopped the security guy that was about to put him down. I said, have you checked a pulse? He said, no, I don't know. How can you help me? I said, yeah, I'm an ICU nurse. Let me take a look really quick. Did not feel a pulse. I said, hey, don't put him down. You need to go take him to a medical tent. I said, get him out of here. Another security guard overheard me say I was an ICU nurse, and he said, hey, can you come help us?
So for the volume of people that were there, and your expertise as someone who works in the medical field, do you feel that there were enough medical resources available?
Not even a little bit. When I followed the security guard that said, can you come help me, after he heard I was a nurse, I followed him, and I mean, the situation I saw was absolutely traumatic. I mean, as someone who watches people, I deal with CPR on a weekly basis. Like, this was absolutely insane. I walk up and there's 3 people and maybe 4 or 5 medical staff doing compressions, doing CPR on people. And my mind was blown. I said, when was the last pulse check? I immediately jumped in and tried to help. For the situation that we had going on with more people getting pulled over that were unresponsive, unconscious, we had 1 AED, which is the pads that go in your chest that shock a heart back into a normal rhythm. There was only 1. There was 1 bag that's the mask you put over the face and you squeeze the air into, breathes for them. There was 1 of those. There was 1 stretcher, and we had 4. When I walked up, there were 3 people, probably 4 or 5 by the end of it, in cardiac arrest in front of me.
I think there's a lot of us that obviously weren't there that night wondering how something like this even happens. You've been to events like this before. Do you have any idea what led to this chaos? Why did the crowd begin to surge? What started all of this?
People just rushing the stage to see Travis. I've been to the past 2 Astroworld festivals. I've been to rap concerts. I've been to Travis Scott concerts. Happens. People rush the stage. No big deal. I mean, it's uncomfortable. Yeah, some people do get hurt, but this was way overcrowded. I've never seen anything like it. I've never felt like I was going to die. It was absurd, and there was so little resources. I mean, the medics that were trying to help didn't look like a lot of them had been properly trained. That's not to take away from what they were doing. They were still trying their best. They weren't given the proper resources. Some of them haven't given the proper training. They had no idea what they were getting into, I'm sure.
Do you think it was a combination of something that would normally happen at a concert, people trying to get closer to the stage, they're excited to see one of their favorite artists, and then people panicking because they just weren't familiar with a situation like that?
I think it was really mostly overcrowding. I know that there's some rumors going around from TMZ that there was someone running around injecting people with drugs. I really don't know how big of a part drugs played into this. I was completely sober, and I very easily could have died if my boyfriend would not have got me out of the crowd. And my unconscious body, crowd surfed my unconscious body out of the crowd, I would have died. I feel like I would have died.